Brexit and the effect thereof on the agricultural industry of South Africa is often misunderstood. This week we speak to Professor Waldo Krugell from the Northwest University to put it all in context. Coming up. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Kom ons kyk bietjie wat gebeur op die mark. Welcome to this week's AMT Fresh Produce Outlook on the Market. I'm Johnny and we'll keep you in touch with the latest trends on the fresh produce markets of South Africa. As was expected last week, we saw that most vegetable prices came under pressure, with potato prices that decreased by approximately 6% week on week. Tomato prices decreased by 33% the past week, while carrot and onion prices decreased by 11 and 6% respectively. This was mostly due to higher volumes, but more due to the fact that very low demand was experienced on the markets and produce that struggled to be sold. In terms of your fruit industry, we experienced banana prices that moved down by approximately 13%. This was due to very high volumes, import volumes from Mozambique, and the current demand that is very low at the moment. Apple prices remained on a high level due to very low volumes on the market. We're expecting apple prices to start decreasing from the beginning of March onwards. In terms of your orange prices decreased mostly on the back of a slightly lower import parity price, while avo prices also decreased mostly due to slightly lower demand on the market. Your avo market is expected to come into full swing within the next few weeks or so. We are expecting prices to start moving gradually downwards in about 2 weeks' time. In terms of your grape prices, we're experiencing very high volumes at the moment, as well as the fact that exports are relatively constrained at the moment and low export prices are received. Your pear market is in full swing at the moment and resulted in the pear prices to decrease by approximately 5% the past week. But let's look at what Prof Waldo has to say about Brexit and the effect thereof on especially the fruit and wine industries of South Africa. As promised, this week we speak to Professor Waldo Krugell from the Northwest University. Waldo, if we look into news bulletins, almost every second news bulletin is about Brexit. What does this mean for South Africa, especially for South African exports in the agricultural industry?
Thank you, Johnny. Yeah, Brexit is about the British exit from the European Union and many of the agreements that Britain has with the European Union. So it's going to influence British trade with the European Union, it's going to influence the flow of capital, it's going to influence the flow of people, and so there are definite implications for the British economy, and in the process, if they are doing sort of less well in the future, that means one of our main export markets is also going to do less well, and it's going to have an impact on South African exports to Britain.
Yes. I think this impacts a lot, especially on the fruit and the wine industry of South Africa. What's the implications on specifically agricultural exports from South Africa, as the European market is one of our main export markets?
It's going to depend on the way the process unfolds. So at the moment, Britain is trying to make a deal with the European Union. So that's going to influence their relations, but it's also going to influence goods moving in and out of ports. And as we know, agricultural products are time sensitive in export. So if there's a hard Brexit without any agreement with the EU, that could totally sort of close British ports, and that will also influence our exports there. In the longer run, depending on the kind of agreement, South African exports could get different tariff treatments depending on the kind of deal that is struck in the end. So I think the short run impact is the dangerous one. In the longer run, we will probably still be doing business with the UK.
Thank you, Professor Waldo. This is very interesting, and I think for all players in especially the fruit and the wine industry to keep an eye on. For this and more information, please don't hesitate to contact us. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Kom ons kyk bietjie wat gebeur op die mark. As my kyk is